Okay, good morning everybody. It's a currently dry, but potentially going to rain again type of day today. We've had so much rain. This is very, very wet. And so in today's video, I'm going to be trying to pick up where we left off in episode 7, which is continuing to clear where the first chicken coop has come down. As you can still see, we've still got the second one sat there. Haven't done anything with it just yet. I've literally gone to start prepping, get the wheelbarrow ready. It's absolutely full of water and soggy, mulchy grass and stuff. So this video is going to be shot a little bit differently. Again, it's going to be real time. I'm probably just going to have a little bit of a chat whilst I work, sort of comment. Chat whilst I work, commentary is what I was trying to say. And that's a different style altogether. I've just come off the weekend of some of my training for counselling. So it's been quite an intense weekend of theory and practice. So actually this is a really mindful kind of day for me just to do some gentle pottering really, which is really important as part of like the self-care side of things. So don't really know what to expect in the rest of this video. I'm just going to sort of mull along, have a chat with you guys and hopefully get all this cleared. So yeah, let's get cracking. And one of the first things I've got to do is kind of tackle this wheelbarrow. I don't know if you'll be able to see how much water is about to come out of this, but wow. Okay. Ooh, don't do that. There we go. Should have called it just a second before then, but there we go. That's all good. Yeah, there's been unprecedented amounts of rain, and down on the Somerset levels, you can't quite see because obviously they're all behind you. I can see the fields, but I can just see like, almost looks like just, well, yeah, flooded fields. So it's like this layer of blue as well, just what used to be green. So hopefully the farmers' fields are, well, they're not okay. They're absolutely saturated, but the Somerset levels are known for that. They're prone to flooding. Right, we bought a new composter to put this in. So at some point I'm going to do some editing and actually cut to me building that, just so I can actually get rid of this and start using this wheelbarrow to move the rest of this stuff. There is a huge pile of the bricks that we had in the last episode 7 that have kind of got piled up there. We've still got that pile of brambles over there, which for those of you that watched, I think it was episode 4, started being piled up there. I might have to just move a bit more there. And I'm actually looking, having just filmed edited episode 7, where we've still got those bits that I was tripping over all the time on. Quite possibly I can see one here. So yeah, who knows, there could be some more trips coming up in this video as well. Have I learnt from my mistakes before? Clearly not. But there we go. Sometimes it's like, it almost feels overwhelming even to know where to begin. You just have to start somewhere, don't you? It's like with any task in life. The kind of scale of it feels a little bit like daunting. However, if we start, we will just get somewhere. So I'm going to start moving the wood initially, because that's half the thing that's right in the way. I can't remember if we were going to try and salvage this door. This was the door that came off the coop that's on the runners. But the actual wood itself, yeah, I'll put that in the barn. See where we get with that. I realised whilst doing some of the other editing that we talk about the barn a lot because we're piling a lot of stuff in there, but you haven't actually seen the state it's in currently. Having cleared it, it's now filled within reason with all the stuff that we're trying to get off of the site, so that we can at least contain it somewhere so that it isn't just piling up. So I thought I'd also use this video as a little bit of an opportunity to give a little bit more of an insight into who we are, as some of the people have been asking about that. And firstly, I'm going to apologise if there's heavy mouth breathing sounds on this, because it is quite strenuous work lifting all this stuff. Some safety goggles that were clearly left on the floor. People were asking about an insight into a little bit more about us, and to be honest, there's a balance for us to be struck between, in therapeutic perspective, you call it self-disclosure. Counsellors don't do much self-disclosure because it takes the power away from the client. It's not about the counsellor in the room. However, there are times when a small amount of self-disclosure, if you've had a similar lived experience, can help somebody understand that you can potentially relate to some of the things that they're going through. So we've been having conversations about how much self-disclosure do we want to give away on YouTube. Bearing in mind it is a worldwide platform and anybody could watch this. So for us, it's about an element of you trying to get to know us, but more like who we are, not by things that might have judgmental values placed upon them. So, for example, obviously Mike and I are in a relationship, and that will mean something different to everybody based on their own lived experiences of relationships. So, for us to try and sort of convey that on camera isn't the easiest thing to do. Like, this isn't a full example of what our relationship looks like. It's how we are when we're working together on site. And our dynamic, though, is quite similar, hopefully, in terms of the fact that we have a giggle, we like to be a bit silly, a bit playful, and just enjoy each other's company with whatever we're doing. I mean, that's not to say that there aren't times where you have, again, we call them, within counselling terms, you call them ruptures. A rupture for some people might be a full-blown argument. I'm not one for arguing, to be honest. If anyone believes in horoscopes, I'm Libran, very much about balance and justice. So I don't really like conflict in arguing sake. I don't really find it very helpful. But there can be ruptures, differences of opinions, and is how we repair from those ruptures. That we're learning a lot about on my counselling course, is like how you can support clients to repair or come to their own conclusion, I should say, about how they might repair something that isn't working so well for them at that moment in time. And one of the self-disclosures I will make, because I think it's really important to be honest and open, is that I myself have gone through my own therapeutic journey. When you train to be a counsellor, you have to do a minimum amount of personal therapy hours anyway, in order to have worked through anything that might mean you would be affected within the counselling space if you hadn't handled it. So, for example, if you hadn't worked through a grief or a loss, a bereavement, and the client was coming to you, talking to you about a recent grief or loss, and it was triggering too much emotion within you, you wouldn't be fit to practice or hold space for that client safely. So you have to have at least 40 hours by the time you've completed your training of personal therapy. With that said, I have had about 2.5 to 3 years of therapy building up to this. And for those reasons, those are the bits I'm going to not self-disclose because they're not really relevant. But what I will say is that I realised how much of a life-changing experience getting the right support at the right time can be. And it can stop distress and overwhelm, which for some people can obviously lead them to very serious states of risk to themselves or others, because everything feels like it's getting too much. So I've absolutely loved learning about myself in that process. And I've also changed a lot as a person, I think, as a result of that. Hello, you okay? I'm just going to turn the camera off because I'm just recording me chatting. No, you're absolutely fine. I just want, your consent is important. So, we just had a visit from the neighbours, which was very kind of them. They came and brought us a bottle of bubbles to welcome us. And so I've completely lost my trail of thought on what I was talking about before then. A little bit about therapy, wasn't it? And the benefits of having it. So, yeah, that's the problem sometimes when you're lost in your trail of thought. I've lost my flow, but c'est la vie, that can happen. I've noticed I say that quite a lot as well in the videos, actually. I guess if I'm thinking about one of the reasons why I was talking about that before was because we want our channel to be real as it can be. Some people will connect with it and other people won't. For some people it might seem too, might be too intense to talk about this sort of thing. For other people it normalises that we all have mental health. And if we see our mental health as our physical health, it fluctuates. So we often wouldn't think twice about going and taking some paracetamol or ibuprofen if we were in physical pain, for example, or maybe something stronger. But there is a stigma around the mental health that is still slowly being worked through, whereby if we're suffering mental pain, which is totally normal, we don't do anything about it. And there's a bit of a systemic issue here, especially in the UK, where for certain generations, I think mental health struggles were shamed. And at times, if you tried to go to the doctor because you felt you had any issues, obviously it went on a medical record, and your employer could see your medical record, and basically no one could get a job if they had mental health on their record. Archaic, really. Very, very archaic. Sorry, there's a sniff there. I'll do my best to... Actually, another comment, someone said they're doing a pumba, a warthog impression. So if there is more sniffing, because again, it's a wet day and a bit chilly, that is just my pumba impression. So you're welcome. You're getting bang for your buck today. Yeah, so the stigma of mental health, or poor mental health, is still slowly changing, if you ask me, slowly changing. However, one of the issues that we are facing is, let's not try and do too much one go, the role of AI in a lot of the youngsters who do need to talk to somebody are actually trying to get the comfort of talking to a concept of a complete stranger in the form of AI. And there is a lot to be said that AI cannot build relational depth with somebody. Can a computer feel empathy? Can it truly feel anything? Who knows? This may generate a lot of conversation in the discussion in the comments, but by all means do, because I would welcome having those sort of conversations with people. And the important thing if anyone is leaving comments about mental health things, is just bearing in mind that we never know what lived experience somebody else has. And one of the core skills of counselling in a person-centred approach is non-judgment. So we're not here to judge others for their experiences in life or their views on things. Just like we ourselves wouldn't like to be judged. Well, I say wouldn't like to be judged. Inevitably, people will judge us, but I mean this in the kindest way, that it doesn't land or affect us if people do, because kind of, again, in therapy, you talk about your locum of control, and wow, there's so many stones here, and that's basically like how you get your sense of self-worth. And does that come from within, or is that shaped from external factors? And an internal one is one where you're generally very content with yourself and confident and know who you are and what you stand for, what your values are, irrespective of what anyone else may say, because we all have a frame of reference on the world. I see my life through my lived experience with my lens, but if you place somebody else in that same situation, their lived experience, their life would be different, so the way they view that situation would also be different, and therefore some things affect people more deeply than others for that very reason. I'm consciously aware now that I can hear my own breathing, so it's probably going to be quite loud. Don't really know what to do with all these bricks at this point. Let's just pile them up there and pretend they don't exist for a minute. Yeah. There's some fossils in a lot of this, interestingly. I don't really know. Well, parts of fossils. If I show you, I'm going to attempt to get right up close to the camera. We noticed that in the barn, that there's the brick wall has lots of those bits of fossils. Again, I don't really know. Yeah, I'm not going to start fossil hunting here. It's not necessary. However, I say that just literally picking up this piece, I'm pretty confident if I were to, I don't know if you can see that now because I've managed to get mud on it. It looks like embedded in this bit here is still a type of fossil right there. Yeah, see there's bits there too. And just where my thumb is. Don't know if the camera's zooming in enough on it. There's a lot of helicopter activity going on today, up and around, so you might hear a helicopter in the background. I can only apologise if it's quite loud. Alright, bricks moving. So, yeah, this is more of a chit-chat, to be honest, chit-chat video. It's almost like I'm voicing over not the time-lapse. So actually the point of this video isn't really the work I'm doing, it's the conversation I'm having with you. Albeit, it's not really a conversation, is it? Because it's one way. Thought-provoking comments, maybe, or just normalising mental health and seeking help if you need it, or not judging the others if they do have it. And again, it's not something which has to be, it's not lifelong. The hope with any therapy is that you go, you work through whatever's challenging, and you finish. As just like you would with taking painkillers. You'd hope that you are in a little bit of pain. The painkillers help resolve it. You might need some physio, for example, if it's something, or some people might have surgery or whatnot. And again, I'm mindful as I say this that I'm also not talking about things like chronic health conditions. I don't want people thinking I'm minimising things like that. Some people do live in chronic pain. I grew up with a disabled father who passed away a couple of years ago. So again, that's a tiny bit of self-disclosure there about some of the things I went to therapy about. He'd had MS for years, ever since I was young. So I grew up as a child carer looking after him until he went into a care home because his needs were too great for him to stay at home. It wasn't safe for him there because the risk of injury, falls, no one being there to help pick him up or look after him. And that was tough. I won't lie to you, that was tough. And as a child, you don't always know how to process any of that. So it's not until you maybe get to adulthood, and actually, in my experience, that grief of sort of him being poorly and not being at home and sort of not being able to be present, that all reared its head when he actually passed away. And it kind of was unexpected in the way it all suddenly hit me. So I will put a disclaimer at the start of this video, actually, that it talks about some things that could be heavy, just to not trigger anybody. So I'll keep it light. I'm not going to go too deep on any of that, because that's not what you're here for. I might be out of shot now. I'm just trying to pick up all the other bricks that are around. So, oh, another sniff, another pumba. Catching myself now for everyone that's like, get a tissue. Yeah. It's not actually like a runny nose. It's a bit weird. It's yeah, some more fossils. We're not really sure what this under here obviously was. There's no sort of easy records to see of the history of this little bit here. So we are kind of guessing that there was obviously something here. I mean, I don't even know if we dug down what we might find. That could be a whole nother video. Well, it would be a whole nother video. There's not a chance that's happening today. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I've done it again. I've sniffed. Okay. Consciously aware of that. I keep forgetting. Right, so now I've got this big pile of brambles that I'm just thinking, get the fork, shove it over there, because the green bin is still already full. And that will slowly start to bring that together. It's funny, actually, when you just start the task, it already feels better just having cleared some space. It's literally like I'm clearing my mind at the same process. Even this is therapeutic by itself. Like on the last weekend, we talked about there's lots of different types of therapy that are available. One of the things I was learning this weekend is called Gestalt, I should say, if I'm going to say it properly. Approach. And in Gestalt therapy, one of the things you can do is something called the empty chair, where you're supported to sort of sit and have a conversation with somebody that you might be finding it hard to talk to them in real life about something, but you can place them in the empty chair across from you and you can talk to them as if they're there without any fear of repercussion or consequences, and there's something very cathartic about just getting it all out, allowing that to shift through your body. There's a lot of work which talks about how the body holds the score. That's a book. And that certain feelings and things get trapped in our body and then manifest in physical ways. So allowing things to shift and work through can stop it getting trapped and stop some of that sort of mental or physical pain and anguish sticking around for longer than it needs to. Right. Okay, that was another big sniff. Oh, I'm going to be in trouble. Right, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to build the composter. I'm going to take this wheelbarrow and empty it into the new composter so that we can start to make some headway. So, I will see you over the other side. And there you have it, folks. The Garantia Gardener. It is a stunning two-door, convertible, actually. Technically, the doors are there. Panoramic sunroof. This beautiful anthracite grey colour. All the rage nowadays. You'll find it there. It's got the old wood trimming detailing, much like you'd find on a classic Jag or Mercedes. Yeah. Snap it up while you can, while stocks last. T's and C's apply. we are now ready for that wheelbarrow. Okay. So this is all the other piles of grass that was in the wheelbarrow. Oh, the space up here suddenly feels just that lot bigger now that all of that hedge is down. This first chicken coop is down. And now we're starting to finally get a bit more cleared. It's surprising, really, just how much more space it fills. What I'd like to do, but I'm yet not quite technical enough to do, is I need to re-watch the house tour part of the video and kind of reshoot now that part from when we come in from off of the road up into the garden, come up to this bit, just so there's like a direct comparison between what we're now seeing. Because it doesn't maybe convey so well on camera just how much it's changed already. And I don't know, you let me know in the comments whether you can really tell the difference. Right. I'll deal with that rubbish in a second. Okay, so the next bit I'm going to need is my fork. Let's go and get that. All right. This ivy was wrapped around the tree and it's just very invasive. I think as a lot of people obviously out there know, it just gets hold, but it had well and truly started to consume the space. Right, I'll just pile it behind me then, just for ease. We haven't got anywhere for it to go right now, so let's just on reflection, I could have just used the fork for this. Again, you learn after you've done it, don't you? You think, oh yeah, why did I bother doing that? But it saves the back a little bit. Give it a good stamp in a minute, see how much it condenses down. And there's a lot of bits of wood still here, so we'll just grab those. There's a lot more metal still in this tree, kind of all wrapped around. The tree's almost grown through it, so I'm going to have to cut some of that back in order to actually release this metal. Otherwise, the camera might not see it's just coiled up. So I'll bring you closer so you can see what we're up against. Okay, so what you actually see now is in essence the view from the lounge. The camera is sort of sitting in front of the window, so this is what we'll see. And before here we had obviously this chicken coop that was really blocking the view. And in obviously episode 7 we started to uncover the wall and noticed obviously that there was, obviously something that had been running along here. So I'm just going to see what I can do to try and tidy this up a little bit more. There's only so much I can do today with the time we've got. And I'm not sure how much longer we've got before rain might come in again, but we shall see. trying to go back to what I was thinking about earlier about the empty chair with Gestalt. So it was a busy weekend of learning new things and practicing some new techniques, and I really enjoy it, but it can also be very mentally quite tiring, because you're just trying to concentrate a lot on both what you're learning, but then also applying it in a practical context. So when you're a trainee counsellor, you have to do triads, they call them, every week. Well, have to, that's what we're doing anyway. A triad is where there's 3 of you, hence why it's called a tri, and each person has a role in that triad. We take it in turns to be the counsellor, the client, and just an observer. The observer sort of makes notes, both for feedback for the counsellor, but also it helps consolidate your own understanding when you're looking at the skills that others are using. You kind of become more mindful of them when you're observing. So you do those for each afternoon that you're there. So it's two days, well, the weekend obviously, which is 2 days. And and in this triads, that's where you're refining your skills, because when you're a trainee counsellor, you're obviously not qualified to counsel anybody. Ethically, it would be not the right thing to do. So you can only do triads on your other counselling students for all those ethical reasons, because you're not qualified to practice yet. So it's quite nice because you really get to know your fellow course mates really well in many ways. And of course they can choose what they talk about, so nobody has to talk about things they don't want to talk about. But those that want to talk about certain things, you just get to know them on that deeper level. Albeit unlike from a friend perspective, where you might want to or feel compelled to sort of give an opinion on it. You don't. You naturally just sit and listen, hold space for them, whatever they want to say. That's essentially the essence of counselling, is just providing a safe space. So our idea of this channel is not to be a it's like a, how would I describe it, I guess? Light entertainment. It's not going to be massively kind of educative from a building perspective. We'll talk about what we've learned as we do things and try things and share tips that we've learned, but we're not experts in building by any stretch. So for us, what we're trying to do is, I guess, just document what we're doing and being real in the process of doing that. Not trying to, play any YouTube algorithms, or trying to hopefully not present the way that we aren't in outside of this channel. What you see is what you get. We've had long conversations, really. That's where we just hope the channel authentically grows by itself, with people that enjoy listening to that, engaging with that. This metal is almost beyond salvaging, but it's like I can't really separate that easily. I'll pop it on there anyway because it's still part of that. I put the fork down somewhere. Where have I put that? Oh, it's over there. Yeah, so just having an authentic channel which gives people just something to look forward to, watching the progress, really. Albeit it will be slow. We don't come down every day. We're not here currently because the work that we need to do inside, like we said, if you remember in one of the videos, we acknowledged we don't have any radiators. So in winter and spring, when it's still quite cold, you can't be living in a house which has no radiators. It's just not going to be good. So, ooh, no thank you, big bramble. Let's get you. Oh, that was risky, wasn't it? I felt that tickle the tip of my head. Oh, when the rain starts, of course it does. There was a strong chance it was going to rear its head, and it has. Okay, so what I think I need to do is if I get rid of that bit, then I can pile up a lot of the compost is hiding in that back corner that you probably can't quite see. If I show you, the rain has started. However, it's not so bad that I can't stay out here. It's actually quite nice, to be honest, because it's been very muggy. All right, maybe we just get our hands dirty, see what happens there. Might be better. That's what we were giving them for, huh? I mean, there is just so much wood. I think we were talking about wanting to get a chipper on site because this is just all fallen wood. I know some people talked about, sort of trying to make hedgerows with it and all sorts, and I'm not adverse to all of that, but we don't have the full luxury of storing all of this stuff on site at the minute, whilst we still have to erect this fence. We need to be able to access it, so we're having to do the clearance, so that we can do that, because there's one that's a fence that's also meant to be running down here. There is currently so much bird song right now. I don't know if the microphone is picking up on it, but there's just something really nice about being out in nature, hearing that, working on the land, the fresh air. That's what it's all about, really. So some of the reason why, for me, process over product is important, because I've got a background in teaching, predominantly in primary education, but I've also had quite a lot of experience in early years and have even done some lecturing. And one of the things I'm really passionate about when it comes to education is that making people realise it's about the journey. It's not always about the destination, because we can learn a lot more in that, walking that path by engaging with it than we do if we're just focusing on the end result all the time. So that's a big part of what we're doing here, is that we're just focusing on the journey and enjoying the journey. We can see what the end result's going to look like, and we haven't quite shown any visuals yet, because we're just doing that sort of process of going, we're not 100% set on exactly what it's going to be. So I know for some people, they can't always handle that. They want to know what the end result's going to look like. We have an idea, we have a concept, but we're also very aware that that can evolve and change as we evolve and change, both on the land and as people. So we're staying very open-minded to that. So that's why at this point you won't have seen much in the way of like, here's the photos, this is what it's going to look like. We aren't there yet, in all honesty, but hopefully in the not too distant future there'll be a bit more of a formulated plan as we work with the architects to just start to refine things, refine the ideas. We kind of know what's important, what we'd like, but we're going to deal with the professionals who can sort of give us a bit more of an insight into that. We've gone for a local firm, naturally. We want to support the local economy, and And yeah, and they understand obviously the planning process better for the area, which is helpful because of course then they know what you can and can't do more easily. Right, now I'm looking for more grass. Oh, please don't collapse on me. I think it's safe to say, to be honest, some days you have loads of energy, and other days you're flagging, and today is a day of flagging, I won't lie to you. Might be because the weather's not so great, or just because it's been a busy weekend, so my body's like, rest. But because we haven't got something on site that can really tackle a lot of this fallen wood and stuff, we're kind of now at a point where we're just moving bits around, other than filling up the composter with some of this. It's just kind of moving things. So I think the reality is we need to get a chipper on site just to help us mulch a lot of this wood down. It will really feel like we're making some progress with the garden. We did decide to invest in a drone. It's still in the box because the weather has not been good enough to attempt to fly the drone. But hopefully when we have to put the fence up, we will be able to have some drone shots, just to add some extra interest and give a bit of an easier understanding of the space and the site we're working on. So that will be a learning curve. Hopefully not an expensive one. But yeah, I think it's time for a coffee.